My husband was a major simp, but did this when he found out I was cheating on him. Hi, Redditors. I would like to share with you all how my wife, whom we have been together for 5 years, has been cheating on me with our neighbor, and how I plan on ruining their lives. I caught her cheating on me with the new neighbor, so I decided to make her pay, but with a twist. I made sure she was aware that I knew of her cheating behavior. At first, as soon as I found out that she had been cheating, I decided to act normal and show no signs that I was aware of the infidelity, but I decided to reveal the truth to her and watch her struggle to understand how much I know. My name is Anthony. I'm a 35-year-old business manager at one of the popular stores that I unfortunately can't mention. My wife's name is Kimberly. She's a 30-year-old entrepreneur. My wife and I have been married for 5 years now, and I recently caught her cheating on me with our new neighbor, Jason. Jason just packed into our neighborhood not too long ago. It's heartbreaking seeing the one person you love and cherish betraying and playing with your heart like it's nothing. Frankly, I still can't believe that my wife could just throw away what we have shared together for 5 years for just a few minutes of pleasure. Before I continue, let me share with you all how we both met. Kim and I met at her best friend's aunt's wedding, who happens to be my mom's friend. At that time, we were still at college, but we didn't really have time to interact with each other. As fate would have it, we met at a fundraiser again. We both recognized each other and chit-chatted for a while, but this time, I made sure I got her contact details before leaving. Kim and I started texting for late hours, meeting for brunch and dinner dates before I decided to ask her to be my girlfriend. She accepted wholeheartedly, and it felt surreal because I haven't had the courage to ask any girl out before. Our late hours of texting and calling increased, went on a couple of dates, hangouts, and functions together. We dated for 2 years before I proposed to her to be my wife, and she said yes. We got married a few months after our graduation from college and moved to New York to start our own lives. We lived as normal couples and pursued our career. I got employed to work at the sales department of the business I'm currently working at. My job requires long work hours, and I often come home late just to make our customers satisfied. My hectic work schedule sometimes hinders participation in activities unrelated to career, which causes challenges in carving out quality time together with my wife. It's not always easy to manage demands between my career and personal life. This makes me feel drained and guilty sometimes. On the other hand, my wife is an entrepreneur. We both make enough income to sustain the both of us. We decided not to have kids yet due to our busy work routine, as we don't want to give a lack of attention to our kids. We both still make out time to go on regular dates despite our busy schedules. Kim and I supported each other through thick and thin. Together we built a strong relationship well, to the best of my knowledge. But now, I have come to realize that everything was just a lie and a sham. I've been deceived and blindsided right under my own nose. Kim started acting weird and staying out late. It's unlike her, as she's always waiting for me to come back home so we can retire to bed together. I tried asking her, but decided to give her the benefit of doubt that she's not in any way cheating on me. 2 weeks went by and Kim's sudden change grew worse, so one day I decided to ask her what's wrong and why she was constantly coming home late. She brushed it off like it's nothing and said I was overreacting and that I don't have anything to worry about. At first I believed her, but then again my instincts kept telling me that something was wrong. She stood up from where we were seated and insisted that she was very tired and wanted to get some rest so she could prepare early for work. I complied and didn't stress her further since we both were tired from work. Guys, this just goes to show how much I cared and practically worshipped my wife. I don't mean that I worshipped her literally, but I'm just trying to say that I adored my wife. I think that's what people refer to as simp nowadays. I was practically the submissive man in the marriage. But now I have realized that being the submissive man will only end up making me a laughingstock. I am very ashamed of myself even as I write this. It makes no sense that I trusted my wife so much that I didn't know that she had been cheating on me. It's even more crazy and wild that our neighbor is her affair partner, and it took me so long to find out about this. I think that my wife is very aware of the fact that I am a very calm man. That's the only reason she has the audacity to cheat with our neighbor, who is literally living a few steps away from our house. I know you all are wondering how I actually found out that Kim is cheating on me. I found out 2 weeks ago, and it was only because I had to take up extra majors to find out the truth. I spoke to some of my friends, and they recommended that I hire a private investigator so that everything could happen smoothly. I was very hesitant at first because I did not think it was right to keep an eye on my wife without her knowing. But as time went on, I realized that I had to take up those measures if I wanted to find out exactly what had been going on behind my back. It is a known fact that I would not have been able to get the real truth from her because cheaters never accept their faults. I decided to hire the private investigator because I was constantly getting paranoid and irritated. I didn't want Kim to know about my decision, so I decided to be secret and smooth with my movements. Due to the nature of my job, I'm not able to carry such tasks out efficiently by myself, so I had to get a professional to do the job. I decided to make the private investigator my gatekeeper so that I would be able to be secret about my movement. It was a very versatile plan, and I actually succeeded in concealing my intentions. Kim had no idea, and that was the perfect plan. At first, Kim did not understand why we suddenly needed a gatekeeper when it had never been a problem before. I had to convince her that I was having problems with opening the gate by myself when I got back from work. She did not seem to bother me after I told her what I needed the gatekeeper for. The private investigator I hired was very good at his job because it really made it look like it was a real gatekeeper. If I didn't hire him, I would have really believed that it was just a normal gatekeeper. When the private investigator started work, I was hardly even home to get any feedback. My work really took most of my time, and I was only free during the weekend. It was during one of these weekends that I was able to get some feedback from the private investigator. He told me that there was not really much he could say since my wife has been careful in all her endeavors. After a few more days, the private investigator told me that he already got substantial proof that Kim had been cheating on me. When I asked what the evidence was, he told me that he had pictures and videos of my wife leaving the compound. I did not find that suspicious at all and asked why that was a cause for an alarm. He told me that she never really left the neighborhood even after getting dressed up. Apparently, Kim had been getting dressed to see the neighbor. If you are wondering who the neighbor is, he's the same guy that moved in barely 4 months ago. It really hurt me to discover that Kim was comfortable cheating on me with a man that just got to the neighborhood. After 2 more weeks, the private investigator was able to give me all the proof I needed. The proof consisted of pictures of my wife with the new neighbor, Jason. I honestly did not see that one coming, guys. It was a huge blow to the back. I didn't just decide to stop being a simp overnight. It was a gradual process, and Kim's betrayal only made me more determined. After gathering all the evidence I needed, I concluded that I was not going to let the betrayal go just like that. It took me days of thinking and trying to put my thoughts together for me to come up with a plan. I don't plan on keeping quiet and only speaking up when I have gotten my revenge. No, guys, that would just be very stupid of me. I want her to know I am aware of everything she's been up to. I want to see how scared she gets and how much trouble she goes through just to properly understand what's going on. My first decision is to give her hints that I know she's cheating. I want to drive her crazy with suspense. I have so much planned out for her, and I honestly cannot wait till she falls right into my trap. The worst kind of men are the gentle ones who were forced to become ruthless because of how they were treated. I plan on doing something very baffling next week, and I'll make an update to this post when I'm able to pull that through. Please comment under this post and share your own experiences with me. I'm looking forward to reading all your thoughts and ideas, and I hope that I'm able to also help someone who is in need of directions. Till next time. Update. Hi guys, I'm back, and I'm more than ready to share this update with you all. It's been very hard for me to live in the same house with the disgusting woman I call my wife. She's cheating, and she has no shame in doing it. My private investigator has been giving me more updates, and the contents of everything he has sent to me is just despicable. A few days ago, I gathered almost 10 pictures from the pictures the private investigator sent to me. Kim was sitting in the living room when I barged in. I was very angry because I'd seen some more pictures that day. Before I even got an opportunity to talk and state why I was there, she had the audacity to ask me for some money. Yes, you read that right. Kim had the audacity to ask me for money even after all the things she'd been up to. I was so angry that I grabbed her elbow and pushed her till she was lying face flat on the ground. I threw the disgusting pictures at her and watched how her eyes widened in surprise. Yes, guys, Kim looked surprised. I could see how guilty she was, and that was what enraged me more. All these while, a part of me had been hoping that she was innocent and that the pictures were fake. But that day, I discovered that Kim was actually more vicious than the private investigator painted her out to be. Kim showed no remorse for her cheating behavior. In fact, She acted like she did absolutely nothing wrong. Her indifference only angered me more and motivated me to make her life difficult. Kim had the audacity to try to pin everything on me. She tried to make it seem like I was the reason she suddenly decided to cheat on me. We got into a very heated argument and Kim decided to set me up. She kept throwing herself at me and trying to make me hit her. Yes, guys, like tried to make me physically attack her. I was smart enough to understand what she was trying to do, so I kept my hands folded gently behind my back and made the decision to ignore her. I knew that she was looking for a reason to implicate me and possibly get me arrested for domestic violence. I can't get revenge on her when I'm in prison, so I had to control myself. I did not let myself stay there and listen to all her lies. I made sure she understood the fact that our relationship was over. Kim was so confident that I was just bluffing and was not going to do anything to her. I assure you guys that all her rants only made me more determined. When I saw how nonchalant she had been, I knew that I'd been a doormat husband. For her to be so confident that I was not going to hurt her just confirmed all my fears. I'd been the world's biggest fool. I left the house that same day and did not return till the next day. When I got back, Kim greeted me at the door and told me that we had no food in the house. Yes, guys, she had the effrontery to ask me for money for groceries. She thought I'd forget about everything that had transpired. I ignored her and went straight to my room. I didn't waste any time before throwing all of Kim's things out of the closet. Even while I was busy gathering her things together, Kim was nowhere to be found. When I brought all her things outside, I realized that she had left the house. It didn't take me much time to guess where she had been. I was sure that she went to visit her lover. I took a matchstick from the kitchen and then I poured some petroleum on her clothes. In less than 5 minutes, all the clothes she owned were burnt out. 30 minutes after I burnt her clothes, Kim ran to the house like a mad woman. "What was that smoke about? What did you do?" She asked me immediately and she set her eyes on me. Of course, guys. I ignored her because she was literally of no use to me. But when she decided to lay her hands on me and try to scratch her nails on my face, I grabbed her and made sure I pushed her to the ground. Reddit, I don't think any of you understands how crazy I discovered Kim is. I can't believe that I've been living with a fool like that for years. When I finally told Kim that I'd burnt all her belongings, she almost ran mad on the spot. She burst into tears and threatened to report me to the police if I didn't buy back her clothes. I ignored all her rants. I knew that there was no point exchanging words with a person like Kim. She was just totally disgusting and had little to no respect for me. So I grabbed her hands and dragged her outside the house. Kim was so shocked that she started screaming dramatically. I didn't act like I heard her screams. I even dragged her out of our gate till we were literally in the middle of the neighborhood. The type of neighborhood I live in is the type that is full of gossips and unserious people. They never miss a chance to listen in on a rumor and watch drama unfold. I knew that well, and that was why I intentionally took her to that particular spot. We attracted a lot of crowd because of how loud Kim had been screaming. I didn't know if she was just trying to be dramatic or if my grip in her hands were really that hard. Well, I will not lie, guys. I did make sure that I bruised her hands while in the process of dragging her out. That part was extremely intentional. Like I earlier said, Kim's screams were drawing a lot of attention, and all the people present seemed to think that I'd been abusing her. I didn't care to explain anything. All I wanted to do was execute everything I had in mind. One of the people who had the audacity to come out and watch the scene was Jason, Kim's lover. I knew he was going to be foolish enough to come, and that was why I even made the scene in the first place. I told all the neighbors that Kim was no longer going to be living with me, and that she was no longer my wife. Even before I could get all my words out, Kim was already shaking vigorously beside me. I knew that she hated public embarrassment and was one of the people who had very huge egos. She didn't want to be embarrassed in public, and that was exactly why I brought her out to face everyone. I told the neighbors that Jason and my wife had been sleeping together, so it was only right for them to live together from now on. So guys, I dragged Kim to where Jason was standing. Then I handed her over to him. He was so shocked and scared when he saw me in front of him. He was literally shaking and his eyes were widened like a fish. I got so enraged that I punched him in the face. What made me angry was the fact that he was just a new neighbor and was barely old enough to be my younger brother. I punched him so hard that I actually drew blood from his face. The neighbors and everyone present tried to stop me, but I made sure I gave him a good beating. At the end of the day, I successfully broke his hand and made him limp a little. The only reason I stopped was because the neighbors intervened and held me. I didn't wait to hear whatever anyone was going to say. I just went back to the house. I arranged my room and trashed every wedding picture that I had. Barely 2 hours after I decided to rest and recharge my energy, I heard noises outside my gate. The private investigator came inside and told me that Kim and her parents were at the door. Apparently, Kim went to call her parents so they could beg me on her behalf and let her back into the house. Yes, guys, you read that right. I couldn't even believe my ears when the gatekeeper told me that Kim's parents were waiting for me at the door. How shameless and irresponsible can a whole family be? How do you confidently follow your daughter to beg her husband after she ruthlessly cheated on him? I was so disgusted that I refused to go see them. That incident really made me realize that I must have been a format. For her parents to confidently accompany her to me, it just shows how stupid and lenient I'd been in the past. After having lunch at home hours later, I decided to go out of the house. I'd practically caused commotion in the neighborhood and everyone seemed to be talking about what I'd done earlier that day. I didn't give a shit. All I wanted to do was go print out the pictures of Kim and Jason. I planned on hanging them all around the neighborhood and in front of my gate so everyone could see. After printing out the pictures, I returned home and decided to hire someone to hang them in the night. You guys won't believe what happened the next morning. I woke up to the sounds of people banging my gate. I was confused, so I decided to go outside and check what was going on. The private investigator I hired as my gatekeeper wasn't around by that time, so I had to go and check myself. When I got to the gate, I saw my neighbors standing there with Kim, who happened to be crying. When I asked them why they were at my gate, they held up one of the printed pictures. Apparently, the person I'd hired had already done his job. Kim fell to her knees and begged me to stop trying to ruin her life. Some of the stupid neighbors begged me too. After having the pictures, some people asked me if I was not feeling embarrassed. I was shocked to be asked that kind of question because it did not just make sense. Why should I be the one feeling embarrassed when I was the one that got cheated on? Why should I be the one that hides his face? It made no sense, and I told them that. The pictures were very provocative, and some of them even included her in a very scandalous state. I denied being the one to have released the pictures before I closed my gate. I had a good breakfast that morning and spent time preparing for work. I had to go see my lawyer that day, so I went there before work. My lawyer had already begun drafting out the divorce papers like I instructed. I need to divorce Kim as soon as possible, and I am working towards it. I had to make sure that the lawyer was good enough to spare me any alimony expenditure. It doesn't make any sense that a cheating wife goes away with your money. That day at work, I had to switch off my phone because I kept getting calls from Kim and her parents. I refused to pick up any of their calls. If they thought that I was just starting out with them, they had to be joking. I was not going to let myself be a doormat like I'd previously done. There was no way that was going to be possible. I still remember how calm and cool I'd been with her family. I even allowed them to take control of the wedding and everything that had to do with it. Now that this whole cheating scandal happened, I've realized that I've been the world's most foolish doormat. I left myself to be used and controlled like a rat. The amount of disgusting disrespect that Kim has shown me just makes me very ashamed of myself. Some people cheat and decide to do it far away from their homes because they are scared of getting caught. Kim was so confident and nonchalant that she had no problem cheating with a neighbor. Let me tell you guys something. It's never okay to be too nice or calm. Sometimes it's okay to be the beast no one guessed you were. I mean, if you're in doubt, just look at where being the good guy took me. I got nothing out of it but betrayal and an unnecessary amount of embarrassment. Oh, I almost forgot the most important part of what I did during these past few days. I got so angry writing this because I kept recalling everything that had been happening. I'm grateful that my keyboard didn't end up suffering as a result of my anger. So, let me tell you all about what I did on Reddit. Before I found out Kim had been cheating on me, we lived normal lives. What I mean by normal lives is that we know a lot about each other. It's just like any other couple. You talk about things and share personal information. I've also shared personal information with Kim and vice versa. It's as a result of this that I'm able to know what her bank PIN is. She also knows my bank PIN, but I already went to the bank to block all my cards and get a new one. I told you guys that Kim is an entrepreneur, right? Well, I have used that to my advantage. She had her savings where she keeps money for her businesses. She also has an account where she keeps the money that her customers sent her so she could buy things for them from any of her trips. I have used this to my advantage. While I was gathering her things, I was able to find one of her ATM cards. I didn't burn that one. Instead, I went to the bank and withdrew everything. When I say I withdrew everything, I mean it. I took everything, including the money that belongs to her customers. I didn't even spare her savings. I destroyed her phone the day I sent her out of the house, so I'm certain that she hasn't been debited yet. She has been using her parents' phone to try and contact me. She isn't even aware of the money that had gone missing. By the time she finds out, it will be too late for her. It's a lot of money, and I will not be calling the amount. I plan on using part of that money to file the divorce case in case it gets too intense. I'm just getting started with her, and she has no idea yet. Maybe I'm trying to get revenge for all the ways she has constantly disrespected me. By the time I am done with her, I'm sure she will regret using me as her doormat. That's all that's been happening within these past few weeks. Apart from the divorce, I plan on doing something soon. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do. I'll get something together and execute the plan before I update you guys. I also have to use this medium to focus on work because I have been too busy doing other things for a while. I want to consistently focus on my work now that I have done most of the things I want to do. I still have to make money because money doesn't make itself. That's all for today. I'll update you guys soon. Please keep all your comments coming. I love to see them. Update. I'm on cloud 9 and I'll like to share that with you all. Before I proceed, I'd like to thank every single one of you for taking time out of your busy schedules to read and interact with this experience of mine. I never imagined that so many people would even give my unfortunate experience a glance. Now it seems like I'd underestimated myself. I can see all the love you all show me, and I am beyond grateful for it all. Thank you very much. I don't want to deviate too much today. I'm ready to get straight to the point because I am very happy as I write this. Just like I told you guys, I made sure I carefully thought of what I wanted to do next. While I was busy working and spending my free time thinking about everything that had been happening, I decided that it was only right for me to give Jason a piece of my mind. If not for Kim, I didn't even realize that Jason lived that close to our house. I knew we had a new neighbor in the neighborhood, but I never thought that neighbor was sleeping with my wife. What enraged me the most is that he has to be at least 5 years younger than me. I don't even know what women really want at this point. Kim cheated with a younger man, and why did she do that? She was just ready to throw away our marriage for a few seconds of pleasure. That's all there's been to it. All she wanted to do was ruin the marriage. That leads me to my next question. Why is it hard to just ask for a divorce? If you're tired of your partner and you would rather sleep around than fix your marriage, why don't you ask for a divorce? I don't bite. If she asked me for a divorce, I would have given it to her without a second thought. I literally don't care about forcing her to stay. I would have had huge respect for her if she just came to me and demanded we end our marriage. That is more respectful than going out of your way to shamefully cheat on your husband. Only cowards cheat, and I will never have respect for anyone that thinks it's right to cheat. I learned that Jason worked at a tech company, so I decided to pay him a visit at work. Yes, he works at a tech company. I'm sure he must be one of those young rich men who think they can do as they like because they have no real responsibilities and earn a certain amount of money. I'm not sure if it's his money or age that attracted Kim to him. It doesn't make sense that she would stay at my house, eat the food I bought, and then go outside to cheat. Damn, I've been a big fool. I'll keep saying this. The distance from my house to Jason's house is very small. How did I not know? Well, that's why I've worked harder to make sure Kim regrets her actions. When I got to Jason's place of work and asked for him, it took time before I was actually able to see him. He must have been expecting me. After the several beatings I gave him, I didn't expect anything short of that. When Jason saw me, he looked like he could have piss in his pants. I'm actually very offended that Kim decided to cheat on me with a scared cat. Well, I don't judge because I used to be Kim's doormat. It's like she has a type. She attracts the kind of guys she knows she can control. When Jason and I were alone in the lobby, I could tell just how scared he was. I'm a very tall guy, and I've been told that I can look quite intimidating sometimes. Well, that comes as a surprise to me because that did not stop Kim from cheating on me. The fact that Jason was practically showing how scared he was funny. He had a cast and bandage on. I noticed that the beating I gave him last time really dealt with him. It did exactly what it was supposed to do, LOL. There was even a limp in his step. Before I could even speak, Jason started apologizing. Listen, man, I'm sorry for what happened. I messed up. I didn't know she was your wife. She told me the both of you were cousins and she was just staying at your house till she was back on her feet. That's what he said to me. Yes, guy. Apparently, Kim lied to him and told him we were just cousins. I was skeptical at first and I didn't want to believe him, but he gave me all the price I needed. He even had voice recordings of Kim continuously referring to me as her cousin. Well, that wasn't how I felt about him. He was just as stupid as she was. If he was really curious and wanted to find out if I was really her cousin, he would have been able to find out. He just wanted to go with what she told him because he was also interested in her. Ignorance is never an excuse. But I didn't do anything to him, guys. I already gave him enough beatings. I was not ready to waste my time with Kim's sloppy second. I will never give her that satisfaction of thinking she got under my skin by cheating on me. Well, she did get under my skin, but she doesn't need to know that yet. I asked Jason if Kim was still at his place, and he said no immediately. He told me that he had chased her out and he had broken up with her. I asked him why he did that, and he said he was just not ready to date a married woman. I was surprised to hear that because my main reason for coming to meet him was just to make him break up with her. Jason did that even without my intervention. I didn't have to lift a finger before all my wishes came true, lol. Jason kept apologizing to me before I left. I had no business with him anymore, so I saw no reason why I should waste any time accepting his apologies. It made me feel good to know that Jason and Kim had broken up. I didn't want to take his word for it, so I asked my private investigator to find out if everything was true. Barely 2 days later, he told me that Jason was right. Kim was no longer living with him, and they had broken up 2 weeks before I even found out. That was part of the reason why Kim kept calling me with her mom's phone. She wanted me to take her back. 2 weeks after visiting Jason at work, I was practically ambushed at my place of work. Kim fell to her knees and started crying. She threatened to strip herself naked if I didn't forgive her. Yes, you definitely read that right. Imagine how shocked I was. My colleagues were stunned to see what had been going on. Kim thought she could emotionally blackmail me into doing something I didn't want to do. I told her she could strip naked if she wanted to, and that it was none of my business. My boss accused me of leaving work early, and I left Kim at work to continue embarrassing herself. None of what she was doing mattered to me at all. When I got back from work that day, my lawyer told me that the divorce papers were ready. I sent them to Kim's house after signing them, and patiently waited for her to sign them. Kim didn't sign the papers even after 2 weeks. She showed up at my house and demanded to speak to me. Apparently, she went to the bank and discovered that all her money was gone. She pleaded with me to return the money because her customers were trying to sue her. I denied taking the money and asked her to leave my house. Kim told me she would not sign the divorce papers unless I returned the money. I didn't have a problem with that because I am not even planning on getting married anytime soon. I don't want any legal drama. She can draw out the divorce all she wants. As long as she's getting sued in court and is currently dead broke, single and abandoned, I do not have any problem with it. I've gotten the perfect revenge and that is okay for me. I even have a girlfriend now. We're just having fun, and it's nothing serious. It was tough, but I had a lot of fun. Thank you all for reading and cementing. It means a lot to me. Bye. I am a 26-year-old male who recently got married to a 24-year-old girl named Rachel. I mean, like exactly 3 weeks ago. I really thought that she was the one until my dreams of having the perfect marriage shattered. Everything seemed to be going well at first, but I soon discovered that Rachel had been hiding a significant secret from me. I found out that my wife had been cheating just a week after our wedding. This is what I did to get my perfect revenge. I met Rachel, my wife, maybe ex-wife, not really sure what to address her when I was 24. We both were in university and shared a few classes together. I was a nerd and did not pay much attention to my surroundings in university. I saw her at one of the university lectures that I was attending, and she was sitting across from me. I was so smitten by her beauty that I couldn't help but strike up a conversation with her after the lecture. She was not only beautiful, but also very smart and well aware of her surroundings. I could see that there were a lot of eyes on her when I started talking to her. I am not used to garner that much attention from people. She asked me a question which I did have an answer to, but I told her that I would get back to her on it. She snatched my phone from my hand and put in her contact details. I was very flustered by her actions. She came very close to my ear and said that she really wanted to know the answer. My ear turned red in an instant. She smiled and left. I could not get this incident out of my mind for days. I was contemplating on how I should get in touch with her. Should I just send the answer to the question, or should I ask her to meet me so that I could explain it to her? I decided to ask her to meet me at the university cafeteria to give her the answer. We had a lot of intellectual talks around chemistry. I was always aware that she had a lot of eyes on her. One thing that irked me about her was she never acknowledged our relationship openly in front of others. She also did not shy away flirting with anyone who showed even a slight bit of interest in her. This behavior made me question the authenticity of our connection and left me feeling insecure about our relationship. Despite our intellectual discussions, I couldn't help but wonder if she valued our bond as much as I did, or if I was just another person she enjoyed flirting with. She reassured me that she had eyes only for me. I had no choice but to trust her words. However, her actions continued to fuel my doubts. It was difficult for me to fully believe her reassurances when she consistently displayed flirtatious behavior towards others. I yearned for a relationship where our connection was acknowledged and cherished openly, which made me question if we were truly on the same page emotionally. She would openly flirt around with people to get her things done and come to me with love in her eyes. It was very difficult for me to read her. I wondered if she was this way with everyone, or was I special? Whenever my doubts rose, she would do something so special for me that I would think differently about her. She would make me believe that I was the one she wanted to be with. That made me both happy and filled with joy at the same time. She had this friend, Liam, who she told was her best friend. He was always around hanging out with her. As they had most of their classes together, I always found them together. Even when we would be on a date, he would either interrupt or come along with us. I had mentioned this to Rachel, that I don't feel that comfortable around him. She always dismissed it, stating that he is the one who understands her best and he really liked that I was her boyfriend. However, as time went on, I couldn't shake the feeling that Liam's presence was more than just friendship. There were moments when I caught him giving Rachel lingering looks or whispering things to her that made me uneasy. Despite my concerns, Rachel continued to assure me that there was nothing going on between them and that I was overreacting. We were on a date one day when, out of the blue, Rachel said that we should move in together. I was ecstatic. I had been hoping for our relationship to progress to the next level, and Rachel's suggestion made me feel incredibly happy and excited about our future together. The thought of sharing a home with her filled me with a sense of joy and anticipation, as we could now truly build a life together. Though it had been only 6 months for us, I felt that we were ready to take it to the next level. I was more than happy she was the one who had suggested this. All my doubts about her not being serious about our relationship vanished into thin air after her suggestion. It showed me that she was committed and invested in our future together. Moving in together would not only bring us closer, but also allow us to create a space that truly reflected our shared values and aspirations. I was so happy initially when we moved in together. She got her stuff and we tried to make it into our home. After the setting up, Rachel suggested that we should have a party. We called our friends over. Of course, she had much more friends than I did. As the night went on, people started leaving. At the end, it was just Rachel, Liam, and I. I was hoping that he would leave soon. I knew that Rachel would not appreciate it if I asked Liam to leave, so I was waiting for either one of them to realize that it's late and we should call it a night. As the night grew later, I couldn't help but feel a sense of discomfort lingering in the air. The exhaustion was starting to weigh on me, and I silently hoped that someone would suggest winding down and bidding farewell. However, the atmosphere remained lively, and I found myself anxiously awaiting a natural conclusion to the evening. I was almost dozing off when Rachel suggested that I go to the bedroom and rest. She kissed me goodnight and whispered, "Don't worry, I'll join you soon." Her comforting words eased my tiredness, and I obediently made my way to the bedroom, feeling grateful for her understanding and care. I woke up the next morning and saw Rachel was nowhere to be seen. I looked at the time and thought that she might have already left for her classes. I walked out of the room to see the mess from last night and clear it. As I walked toward the sofa, I saw something on the couch. I moved closer, still pretty sleepy and drunk from last night. It was hard to understand what it was. I slowly moved the comforter and was expecting it to be Rachel. As I moved the comforter, I saw Liam fast asleep. I was about to walk towards the kitchen when I saw something familiar. I moved the comforter further down, and there she was. Rachel was sleeping beside Liam with her clothes disheveled, and this brought me out of my hangover instantly. Memories of the previous night flooded back, and I couldn't help but feel a mix of anger and betrayal. I needed answers, but I also knew that confronting them in that moment would only lead to more chaos. I decided to leave for work, as there was no point in waking them up and confronting them now. I wanted them to be sober before I spoke to them. I left for work, but was filled with a mix of frustration and concern. It was difficult to focus on my tasks, constantly wondering what had happened the night before. As I anxiously waited for the day to end, I hoped that it was not what I was thinking. I quickly rushed home and noticed that Liam was still at home. I was both glad and angry. Glad that I could talk to both of them at the same time, and angry that Rachel did not ask him to leave. I asked them very coolly what happened last night. They both started laughing. I was getting impatient, and they were doing nothing to help me subside my anger. Rachel then told me that after I went to bed, they had a few more drinks and passed out on the couch. There was no way I was going to fall for such blatant lies. I was still looking at them to see if they would elaborate more on it. They just started talking among themselves about other things. It was as if I was invisible, and I standing there did not bother them. I could not take it anymore and walked into my room. After almost 1 hour, Liam finally left, and Rachel made her way into our bedroom. I did not pay any attention to her and was focusing on trying to read a book. She walked towards me and pulled the book from my hands. She then sat on my lap and started kissing me. I knew very well that I should not fall for her tactics and insist on more explanation regarding last night. But there was something about her that instantly made me think that I was the only one she truly loved. Maybe it was just a mistake. Maybe they were too sloshed to realize where and who they were sleeping with. After our steamy session, she said that if she knew that I was not the one on the couch, she would have found me and slept beside me. Though I wasn't fully convinced with their drunken story, I decided to let it slide. They had been friends for a really long time, and I know that things like these do happen at parties. I still had trust in my relationship with Rachel and wanted to give it a chance. It had been 1 year since we had been together. I decided that it was time for us to take our relationship to the next level. I had made all preparations to propose to her at her favorite restaurant with the cliché ring and the drink. I had butterflies in my stomach as I rehearsed the words I would say to her, hoping she would say yes. The thought of spending the rest of my life with her filled me with excitement and anticipation. I was panicking when the wine glasses arrived. I waited for her to take a sip and realized that there was a ring in the glass. When she did, she was still for like 15 seconds. I was scared that she would just walk away. I didn't know what was going through her mind. My heart had stopped beating in those few seconds. Finally, after a really long pause, she said yes and came towards me to kiss me. As we embraced, tears of joy streamed down my face. In that moment, I knew that our love was stronger than ever and that our future together was filled with endless possibilities. Rachel and I sat together to pick dates for our wedding. She asked that we should get married after she completed her degree. She was excited and wanted to be able to focus on all the aspects of planning the wedding without thinking about her assignments. We discussed the potential dates and agreed that it would be best to have the wedding during the summer break, giving Rachel ample time to relax and enjoy the celebration. Additionally, we decided to involve a wedding planner to alleviate any stress and ensure that everything goes smoothly on our special day. We shortlisted a wedding planner and also a few shops to buy other things from. I told Rachel that I would work on her assignments with her so that she has enough time to visit all the shops and venues to shortlist things. I was busy with my work and completing assignments for Rachel. I could hardly make time to visit the venues or the event planner. Rachel would take Liam along with her on her ventures. They were deciding on things on their own. I did feel a little left out, as it was me Rachel was getting married to and not Liam. I did bring that up to Rachel, expressing my concerns about feeling excluded from the wedding planning process. I explained that I wanted to be more involved and have a say in important decisions. Rachel understood my perspective and apologized for unintentionally leaving me out. We agreed to set aside dedicated time to discuss and make decisions together, ensuring that both of our voices were heard in the wedding preparations. The countdown had started for our wedding. There were 2 weeks left, and Rachel had to finalize her wedding dress. I wanted to tag along for the dress trial, but she said that it would be a surprise and did not want me to see her in the dress before the wedding. Liam had come to pick her up and they left. I did feel that Liam was getting too involved in the entire process, but as Rachel was being so comfortable around him, I decided that maybe he was also excited to see his best friend getting married. All the preparations were going as per the schedule, and there were no hiccups with anything. There was a dance that we were supposed to prepare for the wedding. At times, I would see Rachel and Liam practicing it when I was busy. I did feel hurt, but I knew that if I had been there, Rachel would be practicing with me. I made my peace with Rachel and Liam being friends and decided to focus on my own preparations for the wedding. It was important for me to remember that friendships can evolve and change, and that it didn't diminish the bond I shared with Rachel. Plus, seeing them practice together only motivated me to work harder on perfecting my part in the dance. Finally, it was the day of the wedding. I was restless and nervous at the same time, my heart pounding with anticipation. The months of planning and preparation had led up to this moment, and I couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and jitters. As I stood in front of the mirror, adjusting my tie for the umpteenth time, I took a deep breath and reminded myself that everything would be perfect. I was waiting at the altar with bated breath, scanning the crowd for a glimpse of my soon-to-be spouse. The room was filled with the soft hum of anticipation, and as the music began to play, I felt a surge of emotion wash over me. This was it, the beginning of our forever together. She finally walked in, looking absolutely radiant in her wedding gown. The room seemed to hold its breath as she made her way down the aisle, and I couldn't help but be overcome with a sense of awe and gratitude. In that moment, I knew without a doubt that I was about to embark on the most incredible journey of my life. We took our vows with trembling voices, promising to love and cherish each other through thick and thin. The words felt weighty and profound, as if they were filling our souls together for eternity. With tears of joy streaming down our faces, we exchanged rings, symbolizing our commitment to one another. It was a sacred moment, filled with the promise of a lifetime of love and happiness. The pastor asked us to kiss and seal the wedding. We danced just like we practiced and celebrated with friends and family around. We headed to our honeymoon suite and lawfully enjoyed our night together. The next morning, we woke up feeling refreshed and excited to start our first day as a married couple. We decided on a honeymoon trip 6 months after my promotion. I wanted to take her for an exquisite trip, which she would remember for her lifetime. I wanted it to be the best holiday of her life. We spent 2 days in the hotel that was booked by my parents. We went home and unpacked our bags. This was our first day in this house after we were married. We just lay on the bed, enjoying the feeling of being newlyweds in our own home. As we cuddled and talked about our dreams and aspirations, we couldn't help but feel grateful for the love and happiness that surrounded us. We knew that this was just the beginning of a beautiful journey together, filled with countless more unforgettable moments and adventures. I started going to work 3 days after the wedding. Rachel was still on her summer break, so she was just chilling at home. I came home and noticed that Liam was already here. I thought that after our wedding, things would be different and he would give us space. However, it seemed like Liam had no intention of leaving anytime soon. I couldn't help but feel a sense of disappointment and frustration, as I had hoped for some alone time with Rachel to celebrate our newlywed status. I was trying to convey with my eyes to Rachel to ask Liam to leave, but she kept ignoring my silent pleas. It was becoming increasingly difficult to hide my growing impatience as Liam continued to make himself comfortable in our shared space. I couldn't help but wonder if Rachel was oblivious to my desire for privacy or if she simply didn't want to confront the situation. I finally spoke out that it was getting late and Liam should probably leave since I still had to go to work tomorrow. Both Rachel and Liam looked shocked at my sudden statement. Rachel quickly apologized, explaining that she had no intention of invading my privacy and was genuinely concerned about my well-being. Liam, on the other hand, seemed taken aback and offered to leave immediately, realizing he had overstayed his welcome. I woke up the next morning and I saw that Liam was constantly sending messages to Rachel. I wondered if there was a problem or an emergency, so I decided to check her phone to see if there was urgency. As I was about to read those messages, Rachel snatched her phone from my hand and said that it was not cool to look into other people's phones. I was surprised by her reaction. I said that she doesn't need to be so defensive. It was just Liam and I was just concerned if he was in any problem. She dismissed it, stating that he was not in the right frame of mind and she needed to be there for him. She was very protective about him, so that is why she has been behaving that way. Well, he did not look disturbed or troubled yesterday when he was chilling out here. I made breakfast and left for work as Rachel was engrossed in her phone replying to Liam. I decided to get a few things straight today with regards to our space and how much of Liam's involvement would be appreciated. With that determination, I kissed her goodbye and left. I was working and the feeling of unease kept nagging at the back of my head. I decided to leave early from work and decided to take a walk. As I walked, I remembered one of the messages from Liam to Rachel asking her when he should come home. It was then that a sudden realization hit me, and I began to suspect that there might be something going on between Liam and Rachel that I wasn't aware of. I called in sick and left work. I reached home and saw Liam's car parked outside. My heart raced as I cautiously entered the house, unsure of what I might find. The sight of Liam and Rachel sitting closely on the couch, engrossed in conversation, confirmed my suspicions and sent a wave of anger and betrayal through me. I decided to wait and see what further unfolds between them. As I stood near the door, I saw them exchange a lingering glance before Liam leaned in and kissed Rachel. My world shattered in that moment, and I felt a mix of sadness and rage consume me. They started undressing each other, and I knew then that I couldn't just stand by and watch their affair unfold. I had to confront them and demand answers. I shattered the vase kept at the entrance. That brought both of them to reality. They froze and were shocked to see me at home at this hour. They had assumed I would still be at work, and the sight of me standing there amidst the broken pieces made their hearts sink. I was expecting them to panic and give me explanations, but what transpired was something I was not expecting. Rachel started laughing. Her laughter echoed through the room, breaking the tension that had filled the air. Confused, I looked at her, unable to comprehend her reaction. Meanwhile, Liam's expression shifted from shock to relief as he joined in on Rachel's laughter. I thought that I had lost my mind. I was left with disbelief at their reaction, wondering if there was something I had missed or if they were playing some kind of prank on me. It felt surreal to see them laughing instead of providing the explanations I had anticipated. I was raging with anger and asked Liam to leave my house immediately. I needed to talk to my wife alone. Rachel asked him to leave, and he did. I asked her to explain what she was doing kissing Liam. She smirked and told me to have a seat. She said that she needed a scapegoat to complete her assignments, and I seemed like the perfect candidate. Though she never showed any interest in me, I was the one always willing to do things for her. She was expecting it not to escalate to this level. But as time went by, she and Liam had decided that it would be funny to use me for all their needs. She used me to help her with finishing her degree at the university. I was feeling so devastated. She would have just asked me for my help instead of making me go through all this. She was smiling and laughing, disclosing all this to me. She even told me that I was such a dork who thought that a girl like him would even think of marrying a beauty like her. She could get any guy to fall for her just by flipping her hair. Liam had always been her true love. They made this plan of using me both intellectually and financially for their needs. She told me that I was not only doing Rachel's but also Liam's assignments. Feeling betrayed, I confronted Rachel about their ulterior motives. She confessed that she had been manipulating Liam as well, exploiting my emotions and trust. It became clear that our relationship had been built on deceit and manipulation, leaving me devastated and questioning everything I thought I knew about love and loyalty. It was her idea to make use of me, and even if things went south, I could be fooled by some crap story that they could cook up. She was expecting to play along for some more time before she got bored of me and left me. It was getting more and more difficult for me to breathe. listening to Rachel coming clean about how she and Liam very carefully approached me for their own benefit. She told him how they had been goofing around with each other, even in my presence, but I was so stupid to think that they were just friends. They enjoyed making a fool out of me and often challenged each other to hug or kiss in front of me without getting caught. Everything about the wedding was decided by them, and I was just there as a prop. She even told me that the day she went for her dress trial, they had a steamy quickie in the dressing room. She wanted Liam to be the first one to see her and feel her in that dress. I could not believe that she was the same girl who I had fallen for. After spouting all kinds of nonsense to my face, she went to our bedroom and took a nap. I was left there still, unable to comprehend what just happened. I must be dreaming. It's just a bad dream. When I wake up, all this will be over. I was still in denial that this was happening to me. There were a lot of red flags even during the preparations of our wedding that I had turned a blind eye towards. I now wish I could have been much more rational and decided to follow my gut. There were instances where many people I knew had come up to me and suggested that I reconsider the decision of marrying her. But me being me, blinded by love, I did not pay any attention to my friends' suggestions. Now, when I look back, I had so many opportunities to call off the wedding, but had been stupid enough to still go ahead with it. It was all in front of my eyes. Liam was always at home when I was gone. He would always tag along with us, and they would have hushed conversations. He would keep checking her out all the time while going to a party. They would sit too close to each other, often forgetting that I was also with them. It was all my fault that I was so blinded by love that it was all right there but did not want to see it. It took me 2 days to realize what Rachel and Liam had done to me. I decided that I can't sit here pitying myself. Rachel had left yesterday with Liam for dinner and asked me to leave the house before they were back. They did not even have the audacity to apologize to me for making my life into a joke. I made up my mind not to let this go so easily. I can't be Rachel's puppet anymore. I had to do something to redeem myself and not look like a loser. They had no shame and were laughing their hearts out after being caught cheating. I left the house and I was thinking of how I could take my revenge. I started thinking of ways to make them regret this. As I was scrolling through my laptop to find my options, I received a notification from Rachel's university for the deadline to submit an assignment. Oh yes, I completely forgot that I was still logged into her university account. And just like that, I knew exactly what I should be doing. I logged into her account and changed the password so that I have access to everything. I went through her subjects and looked into everything that needs to be submitted or completed before a deadline. I made a note of everything and started formulating my plan. I knew that she cared so much about graduating that she even faked it to love me and got married to me. If that is something she cares about, that is what I need to stop her from having. You steal something precious from me, I do the same to you so that we get even. That's how you live your life, at least that is what my mind kept telling me. I had always suspected that her love for me was not genuine, but I never imagined she would go to such lengths to secure her graduation. It became clear that her priorities were solely focused on achieving academic success, even if it meant deceiving me in the process. In order to level the playing field and make her understand the consequences of her actions, I felt compelled to retaliate and take away something equally valuable from her life. This was the only way I could ensure she truly comprehend the impact. I started my work on her assignments. I filled them with garbage. I sent explicit emails to her professors, which included graphic images of her trying to seduce them as well. I wanted to cover all bases. My only focus was to get her expelled. I knew that she could not plead guilty to her professors and let them know that she shared her login credentials with someone else. That would get her in trouble, as they would know that she was not the one doing her assignments. Either way, she would get expelled from university and not graduate. It looked like a foolproof plan. Within a day, she got to know what I had done. She and Liam came to my old house where I had started living after leaving our house that we recently purchased. I showed them in and sat there sipping my coffee. I knew that I had to act cool and let them have their say. Rachel started talking and asked me what I had done. I acted dumb. I asked her to remind me what exactly she was talking about. She said that I ruined her life by intentionally submitting crap assignments and also sending emails to her professors that were vulgar. She was devastated and couldn't understand why I would do such a thing. Liam, on the other hand, was furious and demanded an explanation for my actions. As they both continued to express their anger and disappointment, I started laughing hysterically. I told them that they looked too funny right now. They had nothing much to say and left. It did look like an achievement after what they had done to me. I thought that I would be satisfied by this, but I wasn't. The anger and rage did not die down. I knew Rachel was very good at telling stories and knew that all her professors adored her. She might be able to get out of it and still graduate. I had another idea in my head. The house that she and Liam were living in was under her name. I called my bank and asked them to take my name off the monthly payments and add my wife's name to it. The manager agreed to it. The same way, I made sure all the bills were put under her name as I had taken this house to move in with her. She had the responsibility to pay up for everything that I had spent on her so far. Till this point, I was taking care of all the bills as I loved her. Now there was no need to do anything for her. She and her good-for-nothing boyfriend, Liam, can handle all of this. I decided to move from this old house as well so that they don't track me down again. So this is what it has come to. 3 weeks ago was the happiest day of my life. I was imagining spending the rest of my life with someone so cunning and cruel. Today, I am left with nothing but sadness and anger. I was so gullible and naive to think that I could be worthy of love. I had believed that I had finally found someone who truly cared for me, but now it feels like a cruel joke. The pain of this betrayal cuts deep, leaving me questioning my self-worth and doubting my ability to trust again. I would like your support to know if you think what I have done is right and what I should do going forward. Never once did I imagine that my life would take such a drastic turn after meeting Rachel, who I thought was the love of my life. Update. Thank you for all the love and tones of advice that you guys sent across. Rachel had showed up at my work a few times asking me to pay the bills and the mortgage of the house. I told her that they were not under my name and I am not liable to pay any of it. She threatened me with divorce, which I knew was coming. I asked her to file for it and I am willing to go to court. I knew she did not have the money to hire a lawyer, and she was already in trouble with her assignments as I was not there to do them for her. I was finally feeling a sense of joy looking at her all stressed about things, which she never had to worry about when she was with me. This should be a lesson to her to realize what she had lost in her selfish desires. I could see it on her face, the regret and the pain of deceiving me. I was meeting a lawyer for lunch when I saw her walking on the street. I didn't even want to give her 2 seconds of my life, so I just turned the other way. I noticed that she had entered the restaurant with another man. They sat at a table across from me, her head facing me. I first was expecting it to be a lawyer. I was hoping for Liam to follow her around like always. Something about the whole setup didn't feel right. The lawyer looked at where I was seeing and said that he was a businessman who had a new escort with him every time he went out to eat. So now this is what she was doing, seducing rich old men to pay her bills. No wonder people say karma is a bitch. She had a wonderful life with me. All she had to do was forget her past and live a happy life with me. I have finally moved on from Rachel and the haunting experiences she gave me. She did teach me a lesson though. Never blindly believe a girl who is too hot and intelligent at the same time. They always have ulterior motives. Always question what they are going to get out of you, and also make sure that you get something out of them if you already know that you are going to get used by them. Well, I am not the kind of person who should be giving advice to others, but I would like to say to all the young people out there, not to fall too early and too fast in love. Always, always look for the red flags. Don't be blind like me, and please learn something from my mistakes. Listen to people around you, which I know can be difficult when you are smitten by love. Been there, done that. Choose your partner for life very, very carefully, and if something is bothering you, please speak up and ask them to choose. Don't be an idiot like me. I know this is all a rant. Let me just end it here. Take care, everyone, and thanks for listening.